Good morning, Northwest Florida. Thank you for waking up with us here on Channel 3 News. I'm Brent Carney. Look at this view right out here on the Hardee's Beach Camp. The Oyster Bay wildfire in Santa Rosa County was 75% contained. Now that is as of 10 p.m. of last night. Food banks across Northwest Florida say they're seeing an additional 12,000 people in need of food. However, they say inflation is not helping the problem. First this morning, a Georgia man is in the hospital and facing charges after a shooting involving the Foley Police Department. Deputies are continuing to investigate a deadly shooting that happened in Cantonment on Saturday night. Now to our coronavirus coverage. The number of new cases of COVID-19 is falling across the country as more shots go into arms. The Florida Department of Education has rejected 41% of math textbooks that were submitted to the state. Part of President Biden's $1 trillion infrastructure bill aims to try and make roads safer for pedestrians. 200 firefighters from several agencies are now fighting a wildfire over in Panama City. Folks here in Biloxi, Mississippi are waking up to dangerous wind and rain conditions, as well as dangerous flooding on the road. Now, I don't know if you can see it. I just saw it this moments ago. There's actually what looks to be 2 bullet holes in the back of this white truck that we're standing out in front of right now. I'm geared up, and Skanska and Sartoma Fireworks are certainly geared up, and these babies are locked and loaded, ready to go. These letters sent by the Florida Department of Environmental Protection outline the options each organization has to settle the fines against them. The site behind me is empty, so if you walk with me, we're actually able to kind of give you guys a brief tour of what patients can expect when they do come in for this type of treatment. The sheriff says that these vehicles have been in up to 6 feet of water, which is well over my head, but he says in terms of this storm, they have these vehicles on standby. I took the time today to analyze this 82-page document. Well, this area right here is just one of 3 proposed locations for a homeless camp. Well, the attorney that I spoke with today says that a lot of these inmates don't realize that filing these lawsuits costs money, and in fact, these lawsuits can be thrown out for just the simplest mistakes. After our Channel 3 investigation, which had a number of phone calls and messages from current Escambia County Corrections employees, I received this letter in the mail, signed anonymously, the men and women serving in the Escambia County Corrections Department, further outlining concerns regarding the working conditions inside of the Escambia County Jail. This letter painting a picture of what corrections officers say is happening behind the walls of the Escambia County Jail. They claim the ceiling is falling, pipes are leaking, and the electric is failing. The writers also calling out Escambia County commissioners, saying little do they know that behind the facade is the county's very own Mount Vesuvius. The place is ready to erupt any day, end quote. I took this letter to Escambia County commissioners. Getting those types of letters, does that concern you?
Of course, yeah, it does. Of course it does. And that's why if you listen to the meeting today, you heard Wes Marino say that we're ready to sit down with those guys again. We've got an MOU in the can ready to go and present it to the union. And
like every other government, every other business in America, there are issues with recruitment and retention. And I think that we are committed to making the best possible conditions for our employees that we can throughout the system, not only the corrections, but through all of Escambia County employees.
The letter also references a Department of Justice report from 2013 that uncovered understaffing in the Escambia County Jail. It goes on to say the jail couldn't possibly keep prisoners safe because of staffing numbers. According to the letter, those staffing issues haven't gone away.
Brent, it's a very, very challenging situation that we're in. We're raising pay, we're offering incentive money, and we're having a hard time attracting people.
I reached out to Congressman Matt Gaetz's office, who says they would be the ones to initiate a new DOJ investigation into the jail. His office says they also received numerous complaints about conditions inside of the jail. The congressman wasn't available on camera, but did provide this statement, saying in part, "Safe and humane conditions for those serving the Escambia County Corrections Department is a top priority. Our office will be taking a closer look into the issue and will address any major concerns to the appropriate channels." The authors of this letter also stating the jail should be turned back over to the sheriff's office. So I went to the sheriff.
I've been pretty clear over the last couple of years, based on my background, that I believe that the jail should be run by the sheriff. But again, that's not up to the sheriff. That's up to the Board of County Commissioners.
Sheriff Chip Simmons tells me his office would be able to train and recruit easily. He also says deputies and corrections officers would be able to move back and forth.
For us internally, I think we would certainly be open to that conversation should it come forth.
And I reached back out to Sheriff Chip Simmons about that, and he said he would also be willing to have that conversation with the county. The county does plan on meeting with the Corrections Officers Union next week to discuss issues. In Escambia County, Brent Carney, Channel 3 News. It's a story that's nearly 2 centuries old.
This is fantastic. Those newspaper articles are great evidence, but coupled with this map, they corroborate.
The discovery prompting archivist and archaeologist Adriana Walker to take a closer look at the archives here at UWF's Historic Trust.
Miraflores Park was formerly Havana Square, and I'd already sort of looked for those subjects through our indexes, but I hadn't really explored locations.
It wasn't until she stumbled on this drawer, holding a number of our area's historic documents, where she found a map key to the investigation.
I didn't really have high hopes, but when I pulled this out and I started looking at it, I realized that I had something really significant here.
And this is it?
Yeah, so this is it. So this is a map done in 1884.
The map shows areas where there were trespassers on properties across Pensacola.
So the area we're looking at specifically is the void space here, which is known as Miraflores Park today. It also went by the name Havana Square. This map in 1884 doesn't have any identifying information for either of those two, so this probably predates the establishment of that park. But here we have this dashed area, and it is labeled graveyard, and based on the key, the dashed line means there's a fence, so it was likely fenced in. And so it is in part of the modern day park. It goes under 16th Avenue and then actually comes over into the next block.
Dr. Elizabeth Benchley is the director of UWF's Archaeological Institute. She says if a cemetery is discovered on a developed piece of land, it is illegal to dig them up under Florida law.
Human remains and cemeteries and graves are, doesn't matter if they're on federal land or private land or county land, they're protected.
And now UWF is waiting for the state archaeological department to weigh in on what to do next.
We try to inform the city or the county when we discover one and let them know where it is so that they can keep track of that with development requests, because even though it's unmarked, it's still against the law to dig up human burials.
The ultimate goal then, preserving what may or may not lie beneath the surface.
A burial ground is important no matter what, to respect the dead, to know where they lie. But if it is in fact an African American burial ground, that adds a whole nother element of importance and significance, especially even right now. We need to protect these people. They're still people, and they deserve a proper place to lie.
Brent Carney, Channel 3 News.